Before we begin today's episode, please be advised that we will be discussing topics related to intense caregiver stress, mental health issues, and their serious impacts. This content may be difficult and triggering for some listeners. If you or someone you know is struggling, we encourage you to seek help from professional resources. Listener discretion is advised, as this episode aims to foster understanding and advocacy, but does not replace professional advice or intervention. Our discussion is intended to raise awareness and promote discussion around the support needs of caregivers. It's important to approach these stories with empathy and a commitment to positive change. Welcome back to the Shadow series, where we delve into the hidden struggles and quiet victories of caregivers. Today, we continue with Mia's story, focusing on her return home after her transformative night and the steps she takes to improve and manage the stress of raising a child with autism. After a night of soul-searching and writing heartfelt letters to God, Maria returns home with a newfound resolve. The experience has not only reaffirmed her commitment to her family, but has also illuminated the urgent need for change in how she manages her life. Mia turns the key to the lock, taking a deep breath as she feels the familiar click of the door unlocking, a sound that today seems to symbolize the unlocking of a new chapter of her life. She pushes the door open and steps inside, the familiar scents and sights of her home wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. As she closes the door behind her, Ken looks up from where he is seated at the kitchen table, paperwork spread out in front of him. His face, etched with concern, softens into relief as he sees Mia. He stands and crosses the room quickly, meeting her in a tight, wordless hug that conveys all the things that they don't yet know how to say aloud. Mia pulls back slightly, searching Ken's eyes. "I'm okay," she reassures him, her voice steadier than it feels. "Actually, I'm more than okay. We need to talk. There are some things I need to change. For me, for us, for Jamie." Ken nods, understanding flashing in his eyes. He gestures to the table. "Let's sit down and talk about everything." They sit across from each other, the previous tension easing into a tentative hope. Mia begins to share her thoughts from the night, her plans, and her newfound resolutions. She talks about the letter she wrote and her decision to leave the vials behind at the hotel, choosing a path of recovery and strength instead of temporary escape. "It's time for us to find better support, to make our family's well-being a priority," she says earnestly. Ken listens intently, his hand reaching across the table to squeeze hers. "I'm here, Mia. Whatever you need, whatever changes we need to make, I'm here." Together they start to sketch out a plan. They discuss contacting a family therapist, scheduling regular times for Mia to have breaks, and even involving their extended family in Jamie's care, or hiring someone to give Mia the respite she needs. As they talk, Jamie's laughter echoes from the living room where he is watching his favorite show. The sound, once a source of stress on her difficult days, now fills her with renewed sense of purpose. They're not just planning for the sake of planning. They're building a scaffold around their family, one that will support all of them through the challenging times ahead. As Mia expresses her desire for a more stable life for both of them, Ken listens attentively, nodding in agreement. He understands the depth of Mia's exhaustion and the toll it has taken on their family. It's a moment of shared clarity and resolve to actively shape a better future. "Let's make that our priority, Mia. Stability for us means we're just providing the best for Jamie. What do you think we need to change first?" Mia takes a moment to gather her thoughts. Her fingers intertwine with Ken's, drawing strength from connection. I think we need to start with our schedules, she suggests. We need to balance better, so neither of us is stretched too thin. Maybe it's time to look into more dedicated help for Jamie, someone who can assist on a regular basis. Ken agrees. I think that's a smart move, and maybe I can look at adjusting my hours at work and finding a way to be more flexible so I can be home more often. Ken reaches over to his laptop and starts looking up potential caregivers with experience in autism care. Mia pulls out her notebook and begins a to-do list based on their discussion, organizing their action items and deadlines. The atmosphere is one of proactive determination. They are not just planning, but immediately acting on those plans. As Ken and Mia continue their discussion about creating a more stable and supportive environment, the topic of seeing a therapist comes up. Recognizing the strain that caregiving and Mia's recent crisis has placed on both their mental health, they agree that professional guidance should be beneficial not just for Mia individually, but for them as a couple and even as a family. Maybe we should see someone who can help us navigate this together. I think it might help us communicate better and manage the stress we're both feeling. I agree. I am feeling overwhelmed, and though writing those letters helped a lot, I know that talking to a professional could give us more tools and strategies. I want to make sure we're both okay, not just for us, but for Jamie too. They decide to prioritize finding a therapist with experience in dealing with family dynamics and the specific challenges of raising a child with autism. Mia takes the initiative to research therapists who specialize in this area and finds a few options that could be a good fit. Ken and Mia are fortunate. Mia recognized that she was in trouble, and her story could have ended in tragedy. Raising a child with autism indeed poses unique challenges and can significantly impact the stress levels and overall well-being of parents and caregivers. Here are some relevant statistics that highlight the stress experienced by caregivers. High stress levels. Research indicates that parents of children with autism experience significantly higher stress levels compared to parents of neurotypical children. Studies suggest that up to 85% of mothers of children with autism report stress levels that can be classified as high or very high. Mental health impact. Parents of children with autism are more likely to experience mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. Approximately 50% of these parents meet the clinical criteria for depression, compared with 15 to 20% of parents with neurotypical children. Chronic stress, common among parents of children with autism, can lead to serious health conditions, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and a weakened immune system. Caregivers may also experience higher levels of fatigue and other physical symptoms of stress. Caregivers often report feelings of isolation due to their intense needs of their child. Studies show that parents of children with autism are more likely to feel socially isolated, impacting their ability to relieve stress through social support networks. The financial burden associated with raising a child with autism can be substantial, adding to family stress. The cost of therapies, special education, and sometimes specialized care can significantly affect family finances. Families with a child with autism can incur an estimated additional $17,000 to $21,000 in annual medical expenses compared to families without. The stress of raising a child with autism also affects the siblings in the family, who may feel neglected or burdened by additional responsibilities, further increasing stress within the family. The intense demands of caregiving can strain marriages. Divorce rates, while varying, can be higher among families with a child with autism, although recent research suggests the rates may be similar to the general population, indicating that the effect can vary widely among families. These statistics underscore the profound impact that raising a child with autism can have on parents and the entire family unit, highlighting the need for comprehensive support systems, including mental health services, respite care, and community support networks to help mitigate these stressors. It's important to underscore many families caring for a child with autism or any other special needs often find themselves without sufficient support, leading to critical levels of stress and potential crises. While Mia and Ken were fortunate enough to recognize their need for support before reaching a breaking point, many families aren't as lucky. The reality is the intense demands of caregiving, compounded by a lack of adequate resources, can lead to dire consequences. For numerous families, the continuous pressure builds unnoticed by the outside world until it culminates in a tragic outcomes. It's not uncommon for caregivers to experience burnout, severe depression, and other mental health crises. Unfortunately, in some cases, this can lead to neglect, harm, and even a loss of life, both for the caregivers and for the ones they care for. This underscores a critical gap in our healthcare and social service systems. There is an urgent need for better support structures that can help prevent these crises by providing timely interventions. Services such as respite care, accessible mental health support, financial assistance, and educational resources are not just beneficial, but essential. These support systems play a critical role in not only maintaining the health and well-being of caregivers, but also ensuring the safety and development of those they care for. Comprehensive support can alleviate the overwhelming stress and provide families with strategies and time to manage caregiving responsibilities more effectively. Awareness is the first step to change. By acknowledging the intense pressures faced by these families and the often invisible struggles they endure, we can begin to advocate for necessary changes in policy and community support. It's about creating a society that truly supports its most vulnerable and those who care for them. Let's take inspiration from Mia and Ken's story to push for changes that ensure no family has to face these challenges alone. Let's not leave these families in the shadows. It's our collective responsibility to ensure the support networks are in place, accessible, and capable of providing the help needed before a crisis occurs. If you know a family that is struggling with the challenges of caregiving, reach out, offer support, or help them connect with local resources. Small actions can make a big difference in preventing the isolation that so many caregivers feel. The story of Ken and Mia is particularly effective in raising awareness about the hidden crises many caregiver families face and the importance of societal support to prevent tragic outcomes. In the hustle of daily life, finding a moment for yourself can seem impossible, especially if you're caring for others. Introducing the Take Care Time Respite Box, designed specifically for caregivers who deserve a break. Each respite box is thoroughly curated with items to help you rewind, rejuvenate, and recharge, with everything from candles to luxurious bath salts and inspirational books. Every item has been chosen to bring you a moment of peace. Give yourself or a caregiver you know the gift of relaxation. Visit takecaretime.com to subscribe. Order now and receive a special 10% discount on your first box with the code CARE10. Take Care Time Respite Box, because everyone deserves a moment to breathe. Do you have an interesting caregiver story that you would like to have told? Please email us at podcast@takecaretime.com. We would love to hear from you. Please note that this episode features reenactments and dramatized details. While in most cases the exact verbatim dialogue may not be known, all dramatizations are grounded in research. To respect the privacy and confidentiality of individuals involved, names and some identifying details have been changed. Join us next time as we continue to explore the tales and excels of caregivers, bringing light to their dedication and societal changes needed to support them. Remember, together we can make a difference. Till next week, take care.